Let's talk about two of my favorite CEOs, Kevin from CoinMetro and Stuart Popejoy from Kadena. I want to play this short little clip and listen to what Kevin and Stuart are talking about when it comes to scalability and quote unquote, what would an ETH killer look like? What are some signs that a industry or a service or a software has really hit that key point where if you can evolve and adapt, you're most likely going to get surpassed by something else that can evolve, can scale, especially in a technology industry. We saw it with Napster. We saw it with MySpace. We've seen it with several different social media platforms. Now, yes, they can come back, but they have to have the ability to evolve. When we talk about Ethereum and the smart contract coding language Solidity, I personally think that all ERC20 tokens, anything wrote in Solidity outside of very few specific projects, anything wrote in Rust, eventually when Kadena evolves, because Pact makes Kadena so much superior to everything else, inevitably the fallout from that will be big legacy players looking to see what blockchain they want to build on, and most likely building on the blockchain that delivers the highest quality service, safest, fastest, and most secure. Now, I could overtalk this all day. Let's dive deep.
I know there's going to be a lot of people interested in coming into this AMA, this fireside chat. I know that some people are probably brand new to both CoinMetro and Kadena, so I'm going to start off with some basics. I'm going to throw some questions here at Stuart. We're going to start off with a pretty easy one, and that's, what is Kadena? Give us a high level, elevator pitch of what Kadena is.
In one word, Kadena is the future of digital value.
Usually elevator pitches have to be 15 seconds. That was 3.
Right, so, exactly. So I think we're done here, right? Kadena is a scalable proof of work smart contract blockchain platform, and that's a word salad. That means that we're the best platform to build the next generation of smart contracts, and which is what powers DeFi, decentralized finance applications, which includes things like decentralized exchanges, trading platforms, lending platforms, NFT platforms. We're here to make it easy to do the amazing things that we've seen, the kind of promise we've seen in blockchain that has come with so much peril in the form of devastating hacks, people having a very hard time getting to market, interop being a huge problem. Kadena offers a future where you can scale markets on the order of the US stock market without sacrificing the security and indeed improving on the security of something like Bitcoin, which is, proof of work still being the undisputed leader in terms of the gold standard of crypto security, unchallenged to this day, and proof of stake, while being obviously very popular, having some, kind of fundamental flaws, especially when you start talking about things like DeFi. So when we talk about smart contracts with Kadena, we talk about our smart contract language Pact and how easy it is to build anything in Pact and uniquely be able to do things like prove that your code is safe using cutting edge formal verification techniques that Mason of TokenSoft, Mason Borda, last week characterized as like a friend looking over your shoulder as you're coding, something that finds bugs as you type.
So let's recap that really quick. Kadena is the future of digital value. What does Stuart most likely mean by that? How I'm taking that? If you could have went back to the 80s and people would have been talking about building the internet and you've seen what potential the internet might have, what a software or a service where people can build infinitely on top of that software or that service or that protocol. Kadena is going to become the internet of blockchains, the future of digital value, meaning anything that you want to build, you pretty much will be able to build on top of Kadena. And you're going to do that in an open source, decentralized way, which is really revolutionary. A lot of issues with Ethereum come to scalability, formal verification, the smart contract coding language Solidity being the biggest hurdle. There's a reason why Ethereum hasn't been able to scale. I think that there's ways to scale Ethereum, just not with the coding language that it was wrote in. If Ethereum would have been wrote in Pact, I think we would have already had ETH 2.0 out a really long time ago. Now let's listen to this clip where they talk about what might be an ETH killer.
I think the first thing I'm gonna touch on is proof of work. See, as you mentioned or as you touched upon, the industry kind of with initial focus on proof of work, and the industry as a whole, a lot of the same people that were focused on proof of work started to migrate toward or started to talk about proof of stake. And as you mentioned, and many people probably don't know the difference between security of underlying proof of work versus proof of stake. There's this, phrase we hear a lot, which is, ETH killers. Yeah. So a lot of protocols have come out over the last three to 4 years, pretty much right after Ether was launched and started to gain some momentum. There's always been 1, 2, or 3, or 4 or 5, protocols that have been classified as ETH killers. My first question would be, what would be your definition? I'm not asking you whether you think Kadena is or isn't potentially an ETH killer, but what would be your definition of what an ETH killer potentially would be? And then I'm going to follow up with a few other questions down that path.
Well, the biggest ETH killer is ETH.
True. True.
Because, the problems with Ethereum were there from day one. Situation with gas prices and its inability to scale has reached a critical mass. The security problems with the EVM smart contract platform, Solidity EVM smart contract platform, are now resulting a level of kind of thievery and scamming going on that in any other industry would kind of signal the end of the industry. It's perhaps a testament to crypto's strength that we're still here. First ETH killer is ETH itself, and I think you're already starting to see the effects of that. You're already starting to see major projects starting to move off of Ethereum or start announcing their plans to move off of Ethereum. The other big ETH killer, ETH 2.0. Because ETH 2.0 is doing a great job undermining the narrative of EVM today. And indeed, some of the things that I think make ETH, the token, approach a store of value is the fact that it is on a proof of work blockchain. They're busily trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater as far as that goes. And as the recent kind of debacle surrounding ERC 1559 shows, they're going to do that in a very heavy-handed way. So then, the ETH killer really, at this point, I think the narrative has changed a little because two things have changed. One is that it's now an interop world. Nobody thinks that a single blockchain is going to capture the entire market the way Ethereum has, and no longer does. I mean, you can argue that perhaps EVM has a controlling market share right now, but that's a technology platform. That's not a product. That's not a service. That's not a venue. And indeed, you get all the exploits for free when you launch as we saw with this Polygon hack recently, where you had 3 different EVM platforms all experiencing the same exploit. So, so there's this like monoculture that is spreading where, kind of the exploits have a larger surface area to work off of. I mean, smart contracts are really part of it, right? They're probably, when people say ETH killer, they're usually talking about a smart contract platform.
Historically, that's true. I don't know if that term will come to mean something else besides just smart contracts, but definitely historically, that's been
it's actually narrows the field quite a bit. Surprisingly enough, there aren't a ton of alternatives when it comes to smart contracts. There's basically us, EVM platforms, Tezos.
Yep.
That's kind of it,
So this is where I kind of enjoy my side of things, right? I don't work for the Kadena team. I'm not on the Kadena team. I think that was Stuart's and Kevin's way of being extremely polite about it. I look at it from a business standpoint. We talk about all of the hacks that have happened on Ethereum. Just in Q1 of 2022, there has been $1.2 billion worth of hacks. Now, if we visit a website called savedbykadena.network, so it's www.savedby.network.kadena, link will be down below in the description, we can see that the Kadena team went and reviewed 8 out of 11 hacks that happened before 2022. 8 out of those 11 hacks, $825 million would have been saved if the code was just wrote in Pact. Because how you see, where you hear him talk about Pact looking like somebody's looking over your shoulder, I was able to teach my 8-year-old son how to write a Pact smart contract in less than 10 minutes. The raw video is uploaded on my channel, and it was truly mind-blowing watching an 8-year-old be able to look at a step-by-step tutorial and follow along with it. Not just follow it, he was able to teach it to you guys, which is really cool. You will never find an 8-year-old with 10 minutes of experience that could execute a Solidity smart contract and actually read it. He could actually read through it and tell me what he did. Change admin key set to Mason key set. Really cool video. We talk about ETH being the ETH killer. What Stuart means there is everything that people talk about Bitcoin being this great store of value, immutable records, unchangeable. Everything you hear Michael Saylor say positively about Bitcoin all revolves around the fact that Bitcoin has not changed. It has remained pretty much the same since inception. Outside of a few upgrades back before, I think 2011, there hasn't been much that changed to Bitcoin. And that's what makes Bitcoin Bitcoin is people are like, okay, I've been able to use it for 10 years and it's never let me down. Ethereum right now is a great store of value because why? Ethereum in its current status, great store of value. Ethereum doesn't really get hacked. Applications built on top of Ethereum with Solidity are where all the hacks are taking place, not the underlying asset being Ethereum not being secure. Now, when Ethereum switches to proof of stake, right, it's going to be a proof of stake blockchain that has not been tested, that has not been tried, that basically takes all of its security vectors and just throws them out the window and says, hey, we hope we got this right. Just like the people that built the wormhole bridge for Solana, hope they got it right. $400 million hack, gone. Talking about anything EVM, 3 different applications, 3 different protocols, all got hacked because there was a problem with the EVM, the code for the EVM. So when you just fork Uniswap and you go ahead and start up another DEX and you call it whatever you want, but you forked Uniswap, but you don't understand how to read the code or secure the protocol and make it better. If Uniswap left a bug in the code, guess what? You forked Uniswap, you have that bug. We're going to see the same thing with Richard Hart and Pulse Chain and Hex, right? You think he's going to be able to secure a protocol when the greatest coding engineers in the entire world couldn't? I highly doubt it. One by one, you're going to see every product get hacked. One by one, you're going to see these businesses go, if I utilize something like Ethereum, I can't guarantee what my gas prices are going to be next month. I can't guarantee that it's going to scale. I can't guarantee that I can keep my customers or their money or their funds or their information safe. It won't be long before the entire industry wakes up and really realizes how powerful Kadena is. I don't know what's taking the industry so long. I assume that the fact that there's about $1 trillion tied up in shit Ethereum projects, ERC20, EVM compatible, multi-chain. Stuart thinks that, and I'm sure that he's saying that multi-chain is the future, right? Because you want everybody in the industry kind of trying to support your product until they really realize that that's the only option. So I think the other thing's going to happen. I think it's going to be a landslide where everybody moves to Kadena and then the entire space goes, okay, we finally have a layer 1. We don't have to have this fight and we don't have to decide what the next ETH killer is going to be. Once Kadena builds out that layer 1, once the internet was built, would anybody be looking to rebuild the internet? Maybe. Have they done it yet? No. Okay. Well then, I think the same thing would happen with blockchain. Sure, we have several Facebooks, but we only have a couple. Actually, I don't know if we have any other Facebook. We might have another version of Kadena that does something specific, but most likely that will just get built on top of Kadena. That's my 2 cents, squad. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Coin Metro. If you guys want to learn more about setting up a Coin Metro account or why I say these things and I speak so highly of Kevin, it's because that's the only exchange that doesn't launch Shibas. They don't launch Doges. They launch good assets that their clientele base has a good probability of being successful by investing, by hodling, by trading those assets. Things like Shiba, where 95% of people lose, unless you're that person that got in the very beginning stages, right? You're probably going to get wrecked. It's probably going to go to zero. Coin Metro launches the best, most legit assets. They are deeply involved with the Kadena ecosystem, and they're one of the first big centralized exchanges to start showing or start realizing the full potential in Kadena and helping Kadena reach their maximum potential. When is Coinbase? When is Binance going to get it together? When is FTX going to get it together? I personally don't know. I think that this entire industry realizes how much money they can make by rug pulling, by all the rug pulls, by all the liquidations, by all the shit coins that they pump up. And, hear Sam Bankman-Fried talk about this magical box, and in this magical box people just put money into it, and that box can be worth 500 million, but the box really does nothing, right? You've seen CoffeeZilla's video on it. It's pretty funny. I think that a majority of this industry is going to be a landslide. I think the Kadena team needs to be careful on how they say things, because you never want to try to make yourself look good by making somebody else look bad. The industry will just realize that for them, but I don't work for them. I can say whatever I want, and I think the rest of the industry looks like crap. And that's why I'm trying so hard to help educate you guys, because the bigger the Kadena community gets, the more unstoppable it's going to be. So do you want to risk having your money in something like Ethereum, Solana, hoping that they figure out how to get the reset switch to work, how they get their blockchain synced back up on time? Or do you want to be invested in something like AVAX, where they're quote unquote telling you subnets are going to be able to scale a blockchain horizontally, when anybody with any common sense or intelligence knows that no blockchain is ever going to goddamn scale horizontally? I think that was a load of crock of shit that they were trying to scam retail investors. And I get so heated over this because this industry is full of shit, guys. It really is. 95% of these projects ain't worth, if they were on fire, I wouldn't piss on them to put them out. And all they are doing is creating money grabs that suck money out of innocent retail investors. They get these exchanges behind it. You watch my other videos, these exchanges all run their own nodes. They all run their own validators. So big exchanges like Coinbase, yeah, they're running Solana validators. So they're getting free Solana every month for running the validators. Then they're marking it up and selling it to you, charging you fees, charging you withdrawal fees, charging you. These exchanges are making so much money outside of CoinMetro. I give CoinMetro a very big break when I talk about centralized exchanges because I have so much respect for Kevin, and he's trying to make the crypto space better. He really is. So if you guys haven't saw my CoinMetro video, you guys want to set up an account to support an exchange that actually deserves your support and respect, Kevin's earned it. Check out my videos. Love you guys.